I got a call from Mike Colley asking me to become an NRF for a division that wasn't even created. Finally, after 3 or 4 years in NRF, Mike said, you know, we could use more help. Can you give us more help? And so I said, well, I'll become what's called an acting head. That way I can spend a lot more time on it, and I did. And then after a couple of years there, he had me hooked. You know, it was like, we're gonna move to division status. We need a director. There it was, you know, so I said, I'm in. So it was time. But it was an act of love. I mean, it really was. I mean, I just really believed in what they were doing, what the foundation was doing, what the board was doing, what the founder's vision was, what you know, with Mike and the board, again, was what they wanted to do. And so it just seemed like a great fit for me. And coming out to Ardmore was one of the best decisions we ever made. It allowed me to do something late in my career that really comes along to very few people, and that is to actually build a division with a lot of resources too at your disposal. The board was very gracious in building this building, allowing me to hire people, to bring in good scientists. We had 2 divisions already here, of course, plant biology and ag, and even though they were both operating very well on their own, they wanted something that could connect the 2 divisions a little bit better. What we conceived was a cultivar development group, one that developed a tangible product, and we did good science too at the same time, but something we could deliver to farmers that they could use in a tangible way. The ag division was really encouraging this division, mainly from the feedback they were getting from farmers that we needed a cool season system, as definitely a cool season perennial grasses and legumes that we could use. That's where the real deficiencies were out here. Well, you don't have to go too far east to find millions of acres of a grass called tall fescue. And we had actually developed a tall fescue variety that was making an impact when I was at the University of Georgia in the marketplace. It was a very unique tall fescue variety in that it had an endophyte, a fungal endophyte, that normally those endophytes cause problems. They're good for the plant but bad for the animals. So what we had identified was good germplasm, but at the same time we had found endophytes, or we were able to work with a New Zealand group who had endophytes that gave the plant what it needed but didn't have any animal toxins. And we had developed that variety. It was called Jessup Max Q. It was just the Max Q, and it was already on the market. So Jessup did okay, but it really wasn't as adaptive to the southern plains as it could have been. So it was easy to focus on the germplasm being adaptive, getting some of the new endophytes from the New Zealand group, and working in a partnership like that. So Texoma Max Q2, the Texoma portion, is the germplasm, adaptive just by the name to the Texoma region, and other geographies too. And then the Max Q2 indicated that it was a better endophyte. 2013, we're gonna be able to see some seed planted by farmers. Alfalfa is probably the next big thing, and we've got now some new cultivars coming out. And the interesting thing about the alfalfa, and very important, is because it fits the original model, is Rick Dixon developed some of the low lignin patents and technologies that now we both have the same commercial partners that's going to put those technologies in some of our newer varieties. And so we're right at the cusp of bringing in the low lignin types. We've definitely got some of the newer varieties that are going to be coming out that have come out of this program. Each hire, as we've gone through the hires, have made an impact here and are now making an impact themselves. So every one of the hires, every one of the PIs those were the big steps that you made every time you brought in a new program. That's where you're building the division itself and the future of the division and the legacy of the division. From what I did with the Noble Foundation for that 14, 15 years, we had got it to the point where all my energy had got it to that point where I wanted it to be and the board wanted it to be, et cetera. One good thing is you always have to do your leadership planning, and that was the last piece of the puzzle, I think, for the division and for the foundation. We were able to go out and hire a new division director in our image, so to speak, and being able to hire Charlie Brummer was a real critical step, and the last step for me, because now I think they are set. I think the future's bright. because we have a young, aggressive director and a young, aggressive faculty who can move this thing forward. So, sky's the limit.